time spent listening. We are engaging a Dungeons and Dragons campaign on the air.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Welcome back, Chris and Andy.
Thank you.
Chris
Hello.
is our dungeon master, and Andy is our as another adventurer. It's an adventurer that joined us. Hey, Andy, can you talk a little bit into your mic? Let me see how this.
Sure.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
That sounds 100% fine.
Oh, good.
'Cause I just set that up.
You did a good job, John.
What am I gonna do now?
I'm going to give you a pat on the back in the break, musical break.
Jeez, I'm sweating like a. What sweats a lot?
Not pigs.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Sweating like a palm.
So where are we at here, folks? I'm trying to get titles up on here.
Well, we're in radio broadcast room.
Where are we in our process? We're about halfway through. Oh, we were all supposed to think of what our names were going to be for our characters.
So last week we started
been
the
good.
character creation process just to bring people into the loop.
Right.
John, you're going to be an elf wizard.
That's right, I am. Somebody had to do it.
I'm going to be a dwarf bard.
I've got a surprise for you.
Uh-oh. And Andy, you were a
I'm a dwarf fighter.
dwarf fighter. Okay.
That's good. We need one of
Oh,
those.
there's. I'm looking at a sheet and there's highlighter marks. There's things are different. There's more information on this form.
Yes, there is. Told you that I do some of the housekeeping on your characters. So, Danila, I have a wonderful surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
So, one of the interesting consequences of knowing too many RPG systems not well enough and running one of them is that sometimes you miss something. Now, the great thing is that, at least as far as I'm concerned, story takes a back seat. Story takes the front seat to the rules. So,
Okay.
what I realized is that you're extraordinarily low charisma for a bard. Since your spell casting as a bard is based on your charisma,
Oh.
and you are so uncharismatic, normally you wouldn't be allowed to cast spells at all. But that's no fun.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to rule that being really not good at it, that there's a very good chance that something will go horribly, horribly wrong, or just strange.
Oh, you mean like he's
whenever
an
you
idiot
cast a
savant
spell.
of some kind? He's like a Rain Man.
No, he's saying that when I cast a spell, it's not going to go as I expected.
Ugh.
No savant, just an idiot.
Right.
So, there's that. I don't have it done yet, but by the time we actually get to you casting a spell, I will have a table up and running that I can roll on to let you know what happens.
Sounds good.
You'll either put too much energy into the spell, too little energy, or just have no control over what happens to the energy that you pull in for the magic.
Hey, that sounds like my character. Wild and crazy.
Okay, well that's good. Oh, it says stuff on my character sheet that it didn't say last week.
Yes, it does.
No.
What does it say that it didn't say last week?
I don't know. What happened to the tavern? It's supposed to be in continuous
Oh,
play.
everyone just got silent there in the tavern. Something's about to happen.
Oh, now we're in a forest. Okay, now we're in a tavern again. Sure. We should stay in the tavern, right?
We're teleporting at a rapid pace. So, the first thing we're going to do today in character creation, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get through this and start on sort of a prelude plot. The first thing that we're going to do is determine languages.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is going to be easy for Andy because her character is dumb as a rock.
We don't all speak the same language?
Well, okay. There's... sorry, is that better?
Yeah. That microphone should just disappear into that bushy beard of yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, usually in Dungeons & Dragons, there's a language called Common. It's the trade language or the universal language that everyone knows and uses.
Is it the language Common speaks?
Well, I just decided to name a nearby kingdom Calm. So,
Sorry, that was for that joke.
the common language is the language they speak in Com.
Com. And that's spelled Kahm, right?
No, I decided it was, I think it was COHM. I've got it written down somewhere, but close enough. So, today, the first thing that we're going to do is languages. So, since Andy's character is fairly thick, Andy's character does not get any more languages than Dwarven and Common.
Okay.
So, let me see here.
What are some of our other options? I mean, clearly,
Yep, each
John's
of you
character
has-
speaks Elvish or Elven,
Elven.
Elvain.
Elven. So
Elven
I've
is
got-
my cousin's name. Elvish is my language.
Sorry, I've
Is
got
that
some
going to
little,
keep happening? That's really unfortunate.
I've got some little cheat sheets here for walking everyone through some of the steps of character creation. So the first thing, John, your options for language. You get 2 additional languages because you are smart.
Big thinker.
You get your choice of 2 from Gnomish, Gnoll, Goblin, Orc, Sylvan, and Draconic. So, Gnomish is the language of the gnomes. Gnoll is the language of the gnolls, which are a monstrous race. Same with goblins and orcs, they're monstrous races. Sylvan is the language of the woodland creatures, like fauns and nymphs and so on. And Draconic is the language of dragons, which tends to be used by a lot of wizards in arcane writings.
Yeah. Guess which one sounds... Guess which one I'm picking.
You have 2. You get to pick 2.
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to pick Draconic.
Yep.
Okay.
And what's the most common monster that I'm likely to run into? I don't want the Sylvan one. It sounds lame.
That you're going to run into or that you're going to be talking to?
Yeah. Yeah, talking to. Or spying on.
Maybe gnomes? Because they're not really a monster, they're another race. Another civilized race.
Yeah.
A gentle people.
A lot of people will also still speak Common.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Draconic and what else do you think?
I'll go with Gnomish.
Okay. Now, Danila, for your languages, you are not quite as smart, but you are clever. You do get 1 additional language. Your choice of Gnomish, Giant, Orcish, Goblin, Terran, or the Deep Tongue, which is just a fancy way of saying Deep Common, Underground Common.
What's Terran, then?
That is the language of earth elementals. Creatures actually made of earth speak Terran.
Interesting. Well, that I guess I feel like as a dwarf, I have to learn the language of my most common enemy, which is either a goblin or an orc, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, because you can tell what they're saying, you know?
yes,
That's how it works.
yeah. So I suppose how to choose between them. They're both evil, fiendish monsters. They're both aggressive. How to decide?
Go with the orcs. They're more likely to plan, you know? They're more likely to... Have I got that right?
So yeah, let's get this straight.
Who's dumber, goblins or orcs? Did you say goblins?
Goblins are usually a bit slower than orcs. Orcs tend to be more militant. Goblins tend to be more rowdy.
Which ones are more gregarious?
I'd say goblins are more gregarious.
Oh, really?
They'll be happy and gleeful as they eat you.
Oh, no, I mean,
we're
which
more
one...
likely to act in groups.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
I think
what I mean.
orcs are more solo.
Oh, I have the opposite
You have the
impression.
opposite. I think goblins are villages. There's villages and towns of goblins.
Really?
Whereas orcs are monsters that roam the earth. Clearly, everyone knows.
Why are
this.
we the ones talking?
So what you should think is, for goblins have been portrayed different ways in different editions, but what I'm going to say is think of goblins as little, think crazed little children with violence and bloodlust in their hearts. So they don't really have impulse control. They're not really organized enough for large communities. Unless someone's actually forcing them to, they don't make armies. Orcs, on the other hand, are violent and militant.
I'll say orcish then.
Is every decision we're gonna have to go deep into the what's the psychology?
We're
of a
trying to
goblin?
understand this.
I
whole
understand. No, you're right.
universe,
You're right.
John.
You're right. I've got nothing against that.
So, orcish?
I will say orcish. Yes.
All right.
Okay. So next, Danila. Your magic is very bad, but you do know some magic songs.
Okay.
You get 4 of the following: Dancing Lights, Detect Magic, Ghost Sound, Light, Mage Hand, Daze, Open Close, Mending, Prestidigitation, Read Magic, Resistance, and Flare. Now, to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to open up the book sec. And don't worry.
How many of
audience.
those does he have to pick?
4.
4.
So definitely flare.
Prestidigitation has got to be my number 1.
Open,
Here we go.
close.
So
Okay.
what you are doing is you are picking 4 of the 0-level bard spells. And they all have very short explanations of what they are.
Okay.
You read those.
You want me to read those out loud?
Oh, by the way, there's another person in the party, right? That's not a non-player character in our
Yes.
party. What sort of person is it?
It's a young halfling.
Oh, it's a young
his
man,
name
right?
is,
Oh, that raises
I
a
have it
serious
written down
question.
somewhere. Russ Clyde?
Now, does Danila do any real life restraining orders or orders of protection apply in real? Because Danila's not allowed 200 feet from a playground. So is that going to apply in the fantasy world? Will he be able to be?
This is just pretend, John.
Okay, fine, fair enough. All right. So what spells are you?
All right, I have the option of Dancing Lights, which is creates torches or other lights. Okay. Daze, which is a creature loses next action. Detect Magic, which detects spells and magic within a certain area.
Oh.
Flare, which sounds fantastic, which is dazzles one creature,
Okay.
which is a -1 attack. Ghost Sound is a figment sounds. That means I can make sounds appear.
That's pretty cool.
Light is object shines like a torch, so it's similar to Dancing Lights. Mage Hand is a 5-pound telekinesis. Hey, so you could lift up a rock and
get some
drop it on someone's
keys
head.
and float them over to your cage, that kind of thing.
That sounds cool. Mending makes minor repairs on an object. Open and closes small or light things. Prestidigitation,
Right.
which is to perform minor tricks.
Yeah.
Very cool. Read magic, real scrolls and spellbooks, and resistance. Subject gains +1 on saving throws. Okay, so I definitely am going to choose prestidigitation just because I need to practice that word, and I'd love to perform some minor tricks.
As far as I know, it doesn't even require magic.
Let's see. We're probably going to be, as a dwarf, I would need to have light, so I'm going to either do dancing lights or light.
Actually, less than you'd think, considering that dwarves can actually see in the dark, and that elves can almost see in the
Well,
dark.
then I don't need that.
Elves have good low light vision. Dwarves have decent no light vision.
Okay. Then let's do Mage
How does
Hand,
that work?
which is 5-pound telekinesis. I'd love to have 5-pound telekinesis.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think? Should I detect magic? Should I know what magical is happening around us?
Andy, remember, that might be something I picked too.
Yeah, you're pretty magical.
And I might be better at it.
How about something offensive? All these are kind of things. Daze. I'm gonna make a creature lose a turn.
If one of them sets fires, that's always useful. I can't remember.
Doesn't look like he has any...
No fires.
No fire.
Does not have that
I
ability.
can make Ghost Sound, which is a figment sounds.
Yeah, that one, I can do that too. I could do that
Read
right
magic's
now.
always very handy.
And having more people with detect magic or read magic in a party is always good.
All right, do detect magic.
Okay, and you'll do read magic because I can't really read. I mean, I'm not that intelligent.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen my list of spells yet. They might be
All right,
really
so
cool.
I've got Prestidigitation, Mage Hand, Detect Magic, and Daze. I'll go with those.
Okay.
Wow. You're writing those down over there? Are we supposed to write? We have to write them on ours.
Sorry, it was Prestidigitation, Mage Hand, Daze, and
Detect Magic.
Detect Magic.
So I'll know that there's
Excellent.
magic around, but I won't be able to read it.
Right on. Are we starting at first level, by the way? Is that
Oh, yes.
okay?
Oh, yes.
All right.
You wouldn't let us off that easy.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so, John,
Yeah.
first, your spell book, and your character has a spell book. So when Danila's character casts spells, which should probably be reserved for emergencies, he can cast a few times a day, I believe twice a day, any spell in his repertoire. You, on the other hand, have to memorize you have to prepare your spells with a spell book ahead of time.
All right.
So you have to pick which of your spells out of your book you're going to have prepared.
Okay.
So even though that you get a really generous list of some of your spells, you have to pick ones that you actually have prepared on any given day. So
Can I prepare different ones on different days?
Absolutely.
Oh.
So you get all of the 0-level spells.
Whoa.
Wow. That's a lot of spells. How many pages of these are there?
Well, you just have to worry
I
about
see.
0 and
Right,
first
right.
level right there.
Oh yeah. So I can choose from 0 and first level?
Well, you have, I believe it's 3 0-level spells a day and 2 first-level spells a day.
Okay.
But your spell book contains all of those 0-level spells, so you can memorize any of those.
Do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you right now what I want to memorize, or
No.
we'll
This
do
is
it
just
as we go?
we'll do it as we go. But you only have a few of the first-level spells. You have 5 first-level spells to start with.
And how many are there? Just break it down for us. We can't see the sheet.
Well, it looks like there's about. Now we've established that you're better at counting things.
I believe it's 22.
Okay.
It's either 20 or 22.
All right.
Yeah, I'm more Rain Man than you are, John. I mean, that's just the awful truth.
Some of these are cooler.
You can cry about it, but it's not going to solve.
I got one. I can do one called grease. I can make a 10-foot square or one object slippery. One
Oh.
object.
So some of the classically popular ones. Alarm is always a favorite to basically
Yeah, I like that one.
set up a burglar alarm around a camp or something. Shield is a favorite
Yeah,
for a
I
class
like.
that can't
I
wear
had my
armor.
eye on shield.
Same
Also,
with
mage armor.
Unseen Servant basically is kind of like Mage Hand, only you can basically give it instructions and set it to doing something for you. Some minor menial task.
Right.
Basically, it's an imaginary friend that can do chores for you. Comprehend languages is always good. Charm Person is deviously good. Especially if someone is stupid,
Well, there's
they
a lot
will
of these.
become convinced for a long period of time that you are their very best friend. The more intelligent they are, the shorter that period of time is likely to be.
Oh, a lot of these are really cool.
Magic Missile is classic to the point where, it's sort of in common geek vocabulary.
Yeah.
Burning Hands is always fun because fire is good. Featherfall basically saves you if you're dropping down a pit and have time to cast the spell.
Yeah, if I've got it memorized.
Well, if it's a long pit, you can always whip out your spell book.
It's true.
So, yeah. What are you looking at?
So I have to pick 5 of these?
5 of them.
Well, I'll get alarm, and I'll get shield. I'll
Now, does this edition let you have 2 castings in a day of the same spell?
Yes, it does.
Okay, it's good to know. I didn't know that it might not do that. Charm Person, and Magic Missile, and I've got one more. Maybe I will get Unseen Servant. Unseen Servant is just as good. Why would you get what was that? Mage Hand.
I
And you
believe
could have.
Mage Hand is a 0-level spell.
Oh, so it is.
So it's a easier spell that you can
Right.
get access to more readily.
Yeah, some of these are more specific to like once we're on the road. Maybe I'll have a better idea what sort of spells we need.
And you'll be able to pick up more spells as you go along. Every time you level up, you automatically get 2 spells of your choice.
Oh, if I did magic weapon, I could cast it on somebody else's weapon.
Yep, and it'll temporarily make their weapon slightly magical.
You have a spell that could make me more charismatic?
Oh, nope. Well, there's color spray. It would knock you unconscious. People might like you better then. Yeah, I'll do Unseen Servant. So that's 5, right?
That is 5.
Okay. And what about the 0? I don't have to pick any 0-level spells?
No, because you've got all of them in your book.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, when you decide to memorize them for the day, you'll have to pick just a few,
Gotcha.
but you can rotate to different ones any day
I see. So my book only has 5 in it. All right, I see.
for the first level.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay, so next up is skills. Skills are the thing that I know you two have been sort of looking at and dreading. Skills are actually one of the more interesting parts of character design to me. So skills are pretty self-explanatory in that they are things that you know how to do. And that they're things that you know how to do that you can improve in incrementally over time. So
Who takes care of all this? Do we have a social worker or something that goes through and...
that's called your dungeon master.
Okay.
Hello. So each rank, and I'll tell you how many skill points you all get in a moment. Each rank in a highlighted skill, I went through and took your in-class skills and highlighted them for you. Those ones cost 1 skill point. Each rank in an unhighlighted skill costs 2 skill points.
Oh, I see.
And the ones that I crossed off are ones that you can't get at all. You may currently have up to 4 ranks in a highlighted skill, but only 2 ranks in an unhighlighted skill.
Okay.
So, based on class and intelligence, John, you get 16 skill points to spend.
Nice.
Wow, and that's up to 4 total skills that he can have.
No, it's 4 ranks in each highlighted skill.
Oh.
Pay attention, please.
So, if you wanted to be sort of a jack of all trades, you could get 16 different skills.
I
Well,
see.
you don't have that many in-class skills, but you get the idea.
Right.
Or you could be as good as you can be at 4 skills.
I see.
So, Danila, your bard gets 20 skill points.
Hey.
Oh, you got more than me.
Now, I will tell you that perform is a bard's most important skill, and your magical abilities depend on it. Your performance might be instrumental, singing, poetry recital, chant, whistling, etc.
I can't believe how lame.
That's up to you.
But so I have 2 performs here, so I can do
You can get
multiple.
yes, but you want one of them to be fairly strong.
I see.
Andy, you are dumb and a
Yes.
fighter. You are a meat shield. You get 4 skill points.
Okay.
So I'm looking at your sheet, John, and you have what, like, let's see, 8 different skills highlighted. Look at my sheet.
9 now.
Almost everything's
Oh, wow.
highlighted.
So you really have a lot of
You
choices.
got a
to
lot
make
of choices.
Now, I'm going to have to excuse myself from the booth for a moment,
there. Okay.
but
Maybe I'll play a
Andy
song.
can briefly answer questions regarding what skills mean, I think.
Okay.
For the most part.
Let's play a song and choose our skills.
We should play a song. I was going to play I actually brought the wrong CD, but it's okay. I'll play this Il Muccio song. Qualcuno ha ucciso. From... I apologize, I can't remember what album this is from. But good luck and... And we're back. At least I think we're back. These headphones are so horrible.
I'm here.
I can barely hear myself. Everything okay? Everybody sound okay?
So we fielded, Andy fielded, and I helped field a few questions quick about what different skills mean. Do we have any other questions about what various skills mean?
I think we're going to go into this blind. We're going to pick these skills and just go for it. That's our style here on Time Spent Listening, right here on WRFI.
Okay.
So the ones listed with parentheses require you to be specialized in some specific thing. So perform, you need to have some type of performance.
Right.
Craft, you need to be able to craft something specific. If you learn to be an armorer, that does not mean that you are also a cheesemaker and a master painter, sculptor, and underwater basket weaver.
Unless you take all of those.
And what are some crafts? Just could it be anything?
Yeah, name some
Basket
crafts.
making?
Basically, the physical arts and crafts.
There is a list in the book. I can read them off. At least a list of some.
How long is it?
15 items.
All right.
Yeah, let's
Let
do
her
it.
rip.
Let's do it.
Okay. Craft says you are trained in a craft, trade, or art, such as armor smithing, basket weaving, bookbinding, bow making, blacksmithing, calligraphy, carpentry, cobbling, gem cutting, leather working, locksmithing, painting, pottery, sculpting, ship making, stonemasonry, trap making, weaponsmithing, or weaving.
Trap making.
I might
sounds
do
good.
trap making. I
what I
assume
was
that's
gonna
for animals, though, right?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
generally
Not man
animals.
traps.
I don't know. I think that it could extend to man traps to some degree.
Sure.
I would think you
but
could
you're
trap anything that
yeah.
would fall for it.
Well, I just realized I have a modifier that gives me +2 on a craft, so I might as
Nice.
well do something.
now that modifier specifically for dwarves applies to crafts that involve stone or metal.
I see. So either blacksmithing or gem cutting or masonry.
There's other possibilities too. Stone carving, which is distinct from masonry.
Sounds useful.
Probably.
Are we just going to get
locksmithing.
jobs? Is that what's happening?
I'm
There's
not
no-
recommending that you stock
there's
up
no
on a bunch
adventure.
of practical skills.
Yeah.
I think you guys should shoot for the moon and make yourselves completely impractical and unable to survive in the world except by risking your lives by going into dangerous situations for money.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, gem cutting might be good. All the gems we're gonna
I
find.
don't think so. You should do the trap one, though. That's a good idea. You can get us some food.
One thing that I will say that people have done in Dungeons and Dragons before is if a party finds a lot of gems in the rough and they have a gem cutter in the party, they can massively increase the value of those gems before they sell them off. Now, that being said,
We
the
may not be in
GM
the
is
mountains.
completely free to then not give them gems in the rough.
Right. Well,
So-
I've got a few I've picked out some, more or less, not at random. I'm putting points in spellcraft, my knowledge of arcana, concentration, and then I got a few leftover points I'm going to put somewhere else. What about you, Danila?
Well, yeah, I'm being forced to switch things around. I'm going to put a couple points in into using rope because I feel that's probably pretty useful.
Okay.
Performing poetry, which is my lifelong passion.
Yeah.
Hiding and healing. Being an escape artist. Deciphering scripts. Climbing, balance, and appraisal.
That's great. What about you, Andy?
Where are you putting your 4 points?
I was thinking a point into climb. Probably a point into jumping. A point to swimming.
Walking.
Breathing.
Yeah.
And that's 3 of my 4.
So, while you guys are working on those a little bit, because time is flying by, I'm going to move on to the next segment of this, well, in
Yeah.
parallel to that.
Go for it.
So, the next thing is feats. Now, feats are things that you learn how to do that are not something you improve in incrementally. Either you've developed the feat or you haven't. So, John and Danila will each get 1 feat from a short list that I've got for you.
Mine says scribe scroll already, too.
You automatically get Scribe Scroll.
Sweet.
So, Andy, as a fighter, gets 2 feats. So, this time you actually get more choices.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, you can choose alertness, blind fight, combat reflexes, proficiency with 1 exotic weapon, improved initiative, improved unarmed strike, quick draw, or power attack, or weapon focus. And if you pick power attack, for your second one you could pick cleave, improved bull rush, or sunder. Now,
Cleave. Sounds
Andy
awesome.
knows what these actually mean. Some of them probably.
Mostly.
Some of them are self-explanatory. Or almost self-explanatory. Do you know what you want? There's the list for you, so you can stare at it. While you consider that, I will go on to John.
Give me my list.
Skill focus spellcraft. That would give you a +2 bonus to spellcraft.
Okay.
Simple weapons proficiency, which would let you be familiar with more simple weapons. I actually don't recommend that for something that I realized later, but endurance, which lets you do draining tasks for a long period of time.
Okay.
Alertness, or iron will.
What's Iron Will?
Iron will gives you more willpower to resist spells and effects that would control your mind.
I want to have that. I get 1?
You get 1. Just 1.
Should I get Iron Will, or what was the first one you said?
You'll get more later as you level up, but right now
Yeah.
you just get 1.
What was the first one you said?
The first one was skill focus spellcraft.
Oh, yeah.
Or I suppose you could pick any other skill that you'd like for skill focus.
I'll go with Iron Will.
Iron will.
Tell me what Spellcraft is first, though.
Oh, sorry. Spellcraft is one of your skills. It's the understanding of the nuts and bolts of spells, of magic.
How does it help me?
Well, let me put it this way. Since you work with magic professionally, this would be having at least a minimal understanding of computers if you were working in the IT industry.
Okay.
Imagine if you did not understand cables, plugins, operating systems, and you were trying to work in IT.
I thought they would have covered some of that in the academy, but
Well, the question is whether or not you paid attention to it.
okay.
It's a
I'll
worthwhile
go with the
skill for you to
Spellcraft
pick
one.
up at least 1 rank of.
I'll go with the
but-
Spellcraft one. Oh, that's just 1 rank?
Well, no. The spellcraft one, the skill focus, basically gives you a +2 bonus to the skill
For how long?
permanently.
Oh, okay. I'll get that.
But the
I'll do
skill
that.
is a good thing for you to pick up.
I should write
At
that
least
down.
1 rank.
I should write that under feats.
I'll put it down later. You can just focus on your
Okay.
skills right now.
All right.
And Danila, your options for a feat are
Dun, dun, dun.
improved initiative, skill focus perform, improved unarmed strike, alertness, and and lightning reflexes.
That's tempting, the lightning reflexes, but I think I have to improve my skill of poetry. My poetry has to be magnanimous.
Got to really get that magnanimous? Okay.
I may not look the part, but at least I can speak it with conviction.
And
Well
I
said.
decided that I'm going to go with improved initiative and combat reflexes.
Hey,
Sweet.
Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to cover until the end of today is backgrounds. Because next week we're going to finish up character creation. Obviously, this took longer than I thought it would.
Good lord.
But I'm actually going to give you guys some proper homework this week, not just character names. By the way, do you all have character names?
Yeah. I think Danila has to discuss them.
Yeah, I would like to discuss them, but I don't have to. I could just
Right.
spit one out.
Well, what's your discussion?
He has a few ideas, I think.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so initially I thought I would go with a name that's, interesting, like Alphonse. You know,
Right.
you can call me Al, Alf.
Right?
But then I thought it should be rock-related, like Crag or Bluff.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, Crag or Bluff. And then, I thought maybe my parents would say the only thing that grew in the mountain is a juniper, so we named Juniper.
Uh-huh.
Although I don't think that's very good to shorten. It's a funny name for a
You
dwarf.
give us a lot of thought.
And then finally I thought, why not say the meekest part of a mountain, a divot?
That's pretty good. So which one are you going to go with?
I don't know. What do you guys think? What are you gonna? You're gonna be saying my name more than I am.
I think I'd like to call you Juniper. I'd say I'm leaning toward either Juniper or Crag.
Yeah.
Yeah. So both good.
What I find funny about Juniper is that Saturday nights we've got a role-playing game that we play online with some friends over the internet. And Andy's playing a character named Junie right now. So
Yes.
I'd find Juniper kind of funny because my impulse would be to nickname you Junie, but then I'd be calling you by her character's
Maybe let's
name.
not get into that whole thing.
Call me Crag.
Okay, Crag it is. And I decided on the name Marauder, like the wizard Marauder.
Like Giorgio.
I like Giorgio Marauder, only an elf wizard. And what about you, Andy?
I am a Terla Rock Cleaver.
Nice. Oh,
Call
rock
me
cleaver.
Terla.
Terla.
She's got a last name and everything. Maybe that's appropriate that you would just have one.
Crag.
You
no.
wouldn't even have a last name. No one even bothered.
Well, there actually is another important question before I even get to the questions of your character's background. The other question is, how did you guys get together and start adventuring? Because the notion that I have is that the two dwarves probably know each other, because otherwise, why would the dwarven bard that makes things go awry be adventuring with the rest of you?
Right.
I'm kind of thinking that your character, not completely worthless, obviously, but your character is someone that some people would consider a bit of a ill omen.
Right.
So I'm thinking that these are the people that could not say no to you.
Okay.
Not
So
necessarily
I'm
that
a
they
charity
would,
case.
but that even if they were inclined to say no to you, they just couldn't.
So, I mean, I guess I have nothing but disdain for him, but maybe I have gambling debts or something like that. That's what we're
Well-
compelled by. It's true. I have nothing but disdain for Danila.
It could also be friendship.
I
But
don't think so. I don't think we're going to go that way.
Nothing but disdain. How about this? I built a wall in your house.
Oh, yeah, you tiled my bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
considering that you don't have a tiling crafting skill,
I do have
I'm
a
not sure.
masonry skill. That's
Oh.
the one I picked. I
Oh.
craft
Nice.
masonry.
Nice.
So I built a nice retaining wall, and it collapsed, and you've been following me ever since.
Well, that
Your
doesn't
house
make-
fell down.
Why would
House
I-
fell down.
so, well, it's something for you guys to think about how your characters are connected.
Okay.
Now, I've got some questions for you to consider because next week, when we wrap things up on character creation, I'm going to ask you to basically introduce yourselves. So, the first question is, how old are you? And we can roll that up. I don't think that's a significant enough thing that it would even be a pain if we rolled that up off the air, for simplicity's sake. But dwarven adulthood begins at 40, and for elves, adulthood begins at 110. So consider how old you are. What have you been doing from then to now? Why have you started adventuring? You don't need to be able to answer all these questions. These are sort of to get you thinking so that you can give an introduction to the audience and or other characters in the game of who your character is. Why did you start adventuring? Why did you become a wizard or a fighter? Or, for God's sake, why did you become a bard?
So wait a minute. like, how long does it take an elf to learn to walk? The whole thing is just I'm not an adult until I'm 110.
Thank you. That's one of the things that bugs the heck out of me about some of these games.
Yeah.
They try to balance things out that way,
Yeah.
but really, elves should be as insanely awesome as they are in the Lord of the Rings movies. But, you know, if every elf were, like, starting off at 15th level
Right.
by the time you ran into them, it would make for a really unbalanced game.
Yeah.
So what they did was they just said, yeah, elves, yeah.
Basically, 60 years of meditation.
I guess so. All right.
So
A very long adolescence.
that's the notion. So, although, you know, people can go their entire life and still be first level. It's not that big of a deal. It just means that you were pursuing other interests.
Sure. Or passed over for advancement for other reasons, you know?
I suppose. So what's your personality? What is your family like? And what was your childhood like? Who you going to call? What do you look like? Who do you enjoy and what do you fear? What are your goals that you hope to achieve? What are your dreams that you only wish you could achieve? Who do you love and who do you hate? How religious are you? And remember that deities in this world are an undisputed fact because clerics perform healings on the sick and injured daily, just magical spells.
Are you implying that deities in this world are not undisputed fact, Chris? All right, move on. Sorry.
I'm flat out stating that they're not undisputed.
Not on this program. You're listening to Time Spent Listening, by the way,
Do you
for
have
another
any
5 minutes.
Do you have any prized possessions? Do you have any habits or superstitions? What is the airspeed velocity of a laden swallow? What is the history of your family or clan? And lastly, you didn't start off rich, but you began with a significantly above average budget, or you will. I determined your character's starting budgets ahead of time, and it's well above average. So you'll want to figure out a reason in your background for you to have more money than the average adventurers, but not a huge amount of money.
So we have some money.
You're going to have some money next week that you will be spending.
Nice.
Some of it will go quickly.
I'm going to buy a donkey, right?
So I have it. We worked together on a heist. I looked.
One last job.
I built a wall, but actually deconstructed the wall. I saw a masonry wall that was weak.
Okay.
Figured out how to deconstruct it. You cast a spell to hide it. We broke in, and we got the loot.
We're thieves?
It was less loot than we thought it would be.
Okay. Yeah, it might make sense.
We are all chaotic.
Yeah. You know what,
I'm
guys?
Smashy.
We should probably be wrapping it up here in about 30 seconds. That analog click's a little slow. Well, actually, it looks like we've got a couple minutes left. 2 minutes.
So next week, I'll just run you through what we've got left for character creation. And there's not a lot. We have to figure out your ages, which, like I said, for figuring out your background, we can just do that
Sure.
in a minute, quickly. It'll take longer than we probably want to spend on the air at this point, but not long.
I mean, if anybody's still listening, they're goners. They don't care. They're going to listen no matter what we do.
And
Then
then...
recite some poetry.
Yeah. It's happened before on this program.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to wish everybody Happy Pi Day.
Oh yeah,
Today, Pi Day?
today is
Today's
Pi
Pi
Day.
Day. 3.14.
I didn't know that. Danila, do you get the weather? What's going on with the weather?
I was gonna say that I'm European, so my Pi Day's backwards.
Oh.
It's the 14th, 14th month and
Right.
third.
Seriously, though, do you know what the weather is?
It's gonna be lovely. It's gonna be in the 40s.
It's going to be nice tomorrow?
Gonna be nice tomorrow.
Ugh.
Maybe cloudy, but then by Tuesday it'll be sunny. So you have 3 more days of horrendous cloudy muck.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
And
Followed
should
by
I let our
sunshine.
listeners know that I've started archiving on YouTube?
If you like.
I
You
started.
just did?
Okay. Yeah. Although they, if you look up live radio
They're pretty
Dungeons and
smart. They'll
Dragons,
figure it out.
you'll find it. So, yeah.
Cool.
This has been time spent listening right here on WRFI, Watkins Glen, Ithaca. And John, you're going to cue up the
Yeah.
order.
And up next is